Hello viewers, today we are very happy to have with us Father Maverick Fernandes, the director of Caritas Adoption Agency in Goa. Many couples and single people like to adopt children, and in India we have constant changes happening in the legal framework, and now Father Maverick will tell us the current situation so that those of you who are thinking of adopting a child in Goa, you know the exact new rules that apply and exactly how to go all about it. So, right at the start, I'm going to request Father Maverick to give the little background of this adoption agency. It's been running in Goa for a long time, and Father has been a director of it for a long time too. And he will tell us all about how it all started, what's it all about, what's the success ratio, returns, etc., etc. So, Father, thank you very much for being with us, and please tell all the people your experience of the adoption agency.
Karitas Goa is an adoption agency for many years. This whole work began many years back. In fact, the location of this work has moved from different places. We have also an institute in Nationala called Obra Proteção e Mulher. Now this work also moved on from many places. Finally we have it at present at Nationala. Speaking about adoption, if any parent, a prospective parent, adoptive parent, the first step that has to be taken by the prospective adoptive parent. Adoption in India is governed by the rules and regulations under CARA. CARA is the Central Regulatory Agency for Adoptions, under which across the country there are different specialized adoption agency, what we call SA. At the state level, there is the State Adoption Regulatory Agency. Usually it is under the Women and Child Department. They are supposed to coordinate at the state level. In Goa, we have these two adoption agencies, one of which is Karitas Goa. Now, when any parent wants to adopt a child, the first step they have to do is enroll themselves on the portal called Carings, which is under CARA. Carings portal gives us information of registration for parents who are prospective parents in adoption, for in-country and out-country adoption. For in-country adoption, the procedures are different. For the out-country adoption, people who are abroad, Indians living abroad, foreigners wanting to have a child from India, the process of adoption is different. In India, when we speak about adoption, the first step, as I said, is to enroll on this portal, upload the necessary documents, and then following which a home study is done of the couple, and the home study is done by the specialized adoption agency, and the specialized adoption agency has to upload this, and with that the registration process gets complete. Now, after the registration process is complete, there is a time period which is the wait period, we call it, where they have to wait for their turn. Now, it depends on what is the age of parents also, as far as the type of the age of the child will be given to them. So, commensurate with the age of the couple is the age of the child that is given. If the parent's age, this is how the regulations work on, and in 2022 these regulations have been upgraded. If the parent's age is 85 and below, then they get a child from below 0 to 2 years. If the parent's age is 90 years and below, then they get a child from 2 to 4 years old. If the parent's age is 100 years, then they get a child between 4 to 8 years old.
This is what Father is talking about, the cumulative age of both the couple. So suppose the husband is 45 and the wife is 35, it will be 80 years. So that is, it's a cumulative age, not a 100-year man will not be able to adopt a child. Carry on further.
Yeah, so you can go on up to 110 years for adoption. That means both the couple are 55 years old,
Yeah.
up to that time, beyond which you cannot go in for adoption. And the child that will be offered to them will be from 8 to 18 years. Now, a single parent also can go in for adoption. When a single parent goes in for adoption, then the age matters as far as the half of that you have to calculate. And that's how, if they are 40 years, then they get a child below 0 to 2 years. If it is 45 years, then they get a child between 2 to 4 years. So this is how, if they are 50 years, then they'll get a child from 4 to 8 years. And then up to 55, it's between 8 to 18 years. So age, the cumulative age of the parents determines the age of the child that they will get. Once they receive a child, that of giving of the child is through a process called the adoption committee meeting that takes place. Now, the parent has to, once they are referred a child, they have to either accept the child, or we call it reservation. If they reserve the child, then the next step is to have the adoption committee meeting. At the adoption committee meeting, although they have reserved the child, they may not want to confirm the child. So, in which case, the child is afterwards shown to other parents, and the parent has to wait on for their next turn to get the next referral. Like that, they can be having 3 referrals. After the 3rd referral, if the child is not taken by the prospective adoptive parent, then the whole process of adoption they have to re-register, where they have to start the whole process again. So this is how, once they are given the child, then the order is passed by the district collector, and with that order they can go to the births and registrar office, and a new birth certificate is prepared in the name of the child, where the prospective adoptive parents become the parents. From the father's side, it will be having his parents as paternal grandparents and maternal grandparents. So a fresh document is prepared, keeping the age and the date of birth of the child. Rest everything is a new fresh document that is prepared. And for the next 2 years, every 6 months, a follow-up study is done by the agency that did their home study earlier. So this is how the process of 2 years follow-up of the child takes place. This is what adoption in brief we can say. And then afterwards, the child has to grow with the family, bonding, becoming one with the whole family. In brief, I just wanted to say this.
So thank you very much, Father, for that, because I think to make it very clear, so that all of us understand what adoption is all about, I'm going to once again ask Father specific questions, so that we are absolutely clear as to how the procedure is done, so that there is no confusion in the mind of anyone. Now, I'm talking about Christian couples, Father, because we are concerned about our own religion, etc., etc. So, can a Christian couple adopt a child under your agency?
Certainly. Formally, provision was not existing. They had to take first only in foster care, and after 2 years they had to apply for adoption process. With the new act which has come in, the Juvenile Justice Act, where the provisions in that act for adoption is available, persons from any religion can adopt. Earlier, there was only one law called Hama, which was for the Hindus who could go in for adoption directly, and the other people of other faiths could not get into adoption. But with this act which has come in, adoptions is irrespective of what religion you belong to. So every person from any religion, any couple from any religion can go in for adoption.
So basically what you are saying, Father, if I can get you right, is that if I want to adopt a child and that child is from a Hindu family, I can adopt that child and there will be no problem if I baptize that child and make that child part of my family.
Certainly, because once the child is offered to you, you have full right over the child. The child belongs to you. For that matter, a child can be born in to a Catholic family, a Catholic mother, and can go to a Hindu family. There's no problem about that. Once the document is prepared in the name of the parents, the child belongs to them, and the child is having full right over the parents' inheritances, just as any other biological child would have.
Right. So we are absolutely clear about that. Now the next question, Father, is this. I understand that the proposed couple who want to adopt a child have to register for, make a request online. Where is it to be done? In which online system?
So there is this website called www.kara.nic.in.
Okay.
When you go to this website, there is a portal called Carings. Carings is an abbreviation of Child Adoption Resource Information and Guidance System. So under this portal, you have for Indian adoption and for foreign adoptions. So if you are going in as an Indian adoption, you have to follow the procedures, the documents that are enumerated over there. If you are following the foreign adoption, the documents enumerated are there and the procedures are enumerated there. So the first step is for the parents to go on to that portal and register themselves. Right. That's how they start the process of adoption.
You said something about home study when the request is made. Can you please elaborate what is this home study and why do they have a home study in the first place?
See, first and foremost, we are entrusting a child to a couple who is a prospective adoptive parent. The agency who is entrusting the child to this couple have to be sure that the couple is physically, emotionally stable person. And for that matter, they have to have stability of at least 2 years of marriage. If it is a couple, at least 2 years of marriage, stability has to be there. They have to be also financially stable, because we are entrusting a child to their care. So the important part of this home study is to ensure the child will be taken good care. See, we must understand that the child has come in from a situation where the mother has relinquished or the child has been abandoned somewhere, and therefore we have to study the capacity and the ability of the parents to take care of, and therefore this home study is done. There are two parts to this study. First part, the couple has to fill in and send it to the agency, and for the second part, the social worker goes physically to the place and discusses with the prospective adoptive parents and also the close family members, if at all there are any, to check on whether they also are welcoming this decision of the couple, because the child is not just given to the couple, it is given to the family. So the family will be part of the upbringing of this child. So these have to be ascertained that the child is going into a safe, stable, secure family. That is the reason we have got to do this. But prior to this home study, when the couple comes, we do a counseling of the couple, asking them whether the various aspects of adoption have been thought about. See, many times they come in after they have spent 10 years, 12 years, 15 years as a couple, just the two of them. So the first step, they have to think that they are going to introduce a third person in their marriage, in their family. First, they have to be prepared for that. It's not an easy decision that they have to take, because having been accustomed to living just two of them many times, the third person can be a very stressful situation. We make them understand that. Many times people have got stigmatized this adoption. Now, very derogatory terms are used. So this confidence of the parents has to be built very strongly to see that the parents themselves see this process of adoption in a very positive manner. And one, being a faith organization, we always insist on and convince them. See, a child comes to you in adoption, or a child comes to you through your biological means. It's always the child is a gift of God. A person who wants to give a gift to someone The receiver doesn't decide that, no. The one who is giving decides it. When it has to be given, what type it has to be given, in what manner has to be given, also is decided by the receiver. So the giver of this gift of life to that family through this child will decide whether it's biological form, manner, or an adoption process. But in any case, the giver is God. That is what we try to build this confidence in them. So that in no way the child in adoption is of less value. If the parents are firmly convinced of this, it is a very important step for the child's positive growth. Because eventually we also insist that they should be able to inform the child that the child is through adoption. Because this is also another crucial aspect. Because if the parents give everything that is best for them and keep this out, and they learn it from some other sources, they will learn it from in a very negative manner. But when the parents communicate this aspect to them about adoption, they will have a better way of explaining to them, better manner of explaining it to them, so that the child's bonding also also gets strengthened. So that's why we also insist through this process of counseling before we go in for the home study. So this is a crucial aspect as far as adoption is concerned.
So this counseling that you speak about, Father, normally how long does it take?
Depends on whether the couple, sometimes when we speak for the first session, sometimes they require a second session, sometimes the third session. So until they are fully convinced that they want to take the step of going for adoption.
Mm-hmm. So it is not something that is fixed, it's all the same.
Yeah,
now,
it depends on each couple how it is.
One other thing that I learned is that the couple who are thinking of adopting have to give references. Can you please elaborate on what is this reference all about?
See, references is to say that this particular couple is a very responsible couple. So it can be a friend, it can be a relative, it can be someone, a prominent person in the society who knows them for some years, and that the agency can trust the decision of this couple because others are also speaking good about them. So that is what is required as references from other people, so that we are sure that this couple who is asking for a child, others who are there, who have known them for many years, are giving a positive report about them.
Father, you mentioned about cumulative age of the parents. Okay, so if it's if they are 80, that means 40, the child is between so and so age. If the couple wants a baby, say just born or 6 months old, is that impossible for them to adopt under this criteria?
No, they can. If they are below 85 cumulative age, they will get a 0 baby.
Okay, so it is not because as you said, bonding
in fact,
has to take place.
our agency practically within a year's time our children go out, because that's how fast our process happens.
That means if the child is within a year old, they go out already.
Yeah.
So
even within 6 months.
In other words, begs the question: how do you get these kids, and at what age you get them?
See, we run an institute for unwed mothers
Okay.
and abandoned babies. So you find many times children abandoned different places. And the police will take them, produce them before the CWC. The CWC afterwards decides that the child has to be placed in a home where care will be given. If it is an abandoned child, then there's a process by which they have to wait. The police have to submit a report to the CWC saying that we have tried to identify the parents, it's not possible. Then their publication of photos have to take place. And then once that period passes of a month, 1 or 2 months, then the CWC declares the child free for adoption. That is when we can start uploading the child into the carings portal as free for adoption. There are young unwed mothers. There are also families who, when they have got too many children and are unable to take care of, they come forward and they want to relinquish that child.
Right.
So these are types of issues also we find in the state.
Now, if the couple have a particular preference for a girl or a boy, can they choose that?
Yes, during the registration enrollment of they can choose what gender or child they want to have. Now, I just want to also say something more in this gender. The eligibility of single parents for adopting. A single mother, a lady, can adopt a child of any gender, whereas a single father can adopt only a male child, cannot adopt
Yeah.
a. So that that provisions are there that if the male wants to have a girl, he cannot do that. Whereas a lady can have a choice of gender as far as man or boy or girl.
Now, I just want a word from your father about the selection of the child, in the sense that when does the parent go and see the child and say, that is the child I want? Is that correct, or am I saying it wrong?
Uh, prior to 2014, that was possible,
Ah,
where we used to have a system by which the matching was done, where parents, the organization would look at the possible features of the parents and see which child would match which parent, and so there was a lot of more human touch to that. To be honest, from 2014 onwards, the whole process has changed. Everything has been online, beginning from registration of for adoption to granting or referring a child is also online now. So the parent, when they are referred to a child, when the child is referred to them, they will be shown online. Now, in that they are shown a photograph of the baby, they are shown the child study report and the medical report. So, on this 3 reports, they have to make a choice whether they want to reserve the child or skip that. So, if they reserve the child, then the next step is to have an adoption committee meeting, ACM we call it. If they don't reserve the child, then the child is released for viewing for other parents, or the child will be referred to other parents. But if it is reserved, then the adoption committee meeting has to take place within 1 month. And an adoption committee meeting is the first time the parents meet the child. So that is the time they can either confirm what they have reserved earlier, or if they don't want to confirm, then again the child is released for viewing for other parents. But if they confirm, then the next step is to have the hearing before the collector, and the collector passes an order for that.
isn't that a bit harsh, Father? Because if you don't see the child and you only see a photograph may not be always very appropriate. So why has this rule come where the government is so strong to say that you can only see the photograph but you cannot see the person?
Yeah, it is. I would like to say that it is not a very human way of dealing with this adoption. Nevertheless, the government has come up with this. There were a lot of very heated discussions when this whole process was getting introduced, and unfortunately it went ahead, and that is what we have got to bear with. So this is how the whole program functions.
Okay, so now we have reached a stage where the parents have accepted the child, have agreed the child. What is the next stage after that? How about the legal formalities in terms of the child now legally is now my child?
Yeah. So once that adoption committee meeting takes place, a report is prepared, and that report is uploaded before the carings, on the carings, and that afterwards is submitted to the DCPO, is the District Child Protection Officer under the Women and Child Department. The Child Protection Officer submits a report to the collector, and the collector afterwards will have a hearing and pass an order stating that the adoptive parents are the actual parents, or actual adoptive parents, and from the father's side it is the grandparents, paternal grandparents, and from the mother's side the maternal grandparents. So the fresh document is prepared based on the order of the collector.
All right.
So this is how the process. Legally, the child has full rights over the parents' inheritance, and the parents have full right over the child. So after that, nobody can interfere with this. with the process of adoption.
Does the district collector actually call the proposed parents for a meeting?
Yes, they come physically. They have to be present.
So that's again another interview.
They look at the more of the papers and take a decision on that.
Just a little word further of an explanation about the salary levels of the prospective parents.
Yeah.
Now, there could be a couple who are not very well off, but they are okay, you know. So would they be debarred or would they also be considered okay for adoption?
See, what happens is the agency has to ascertain that the financial position of the parents is sufficient to take care of the child. Because there are a lot of aberrations that take place. In the past, there have been in other states, particularly not so much in our state over here, where a lot of negative things have happened. Children have been put in for working, and children have been misuse has happened, abuses have taken place. Therefore, the agency have to be a little cautious to see that the parents are capable financially to provide a better life to the child. And that is the reason we ask for all these details about their finances and their stay. If they are constantly only staying on rent and there is no stable place for the child. So, it will be always a situation like that where the child is not going to be in an environment which is very safe and secure. So, this has to be ascertained.
Father, in your own experience as far as Karitas is concerned, has there been any situation where your agency has said, sorry, we are not going to accept your request?
We have had to do this.
And what were the circumstances?
Circumstances many times, see, we also have to see that in the eligibility of parents, sometimes the parent, one parent wants, the other parent doesn't want, is not so keen.
Right.
So, those type of issues have come up. Then they say that no, because she wants it, I'm doing it, or because he wants it, I'm doing it. I'm not really into it. So then we don't proceed with that adoption. We don't proceed because the child will go into a very argumentative family.
Right, okay.
Sometimes the financial capacity doesn't give us a good feel that the child will be taken good care of it. No? So there are instances we have had to say that we cannot proceed with this.
So percentage wise, would you say 5%?
No, 10%? Just maybe 1 or 2% you can say,
okay,
not too much.
Very few.
Very
Okay,
few.
That's good. Now, Father, on another little, you said that I just want to make it clear so that the people who are thinking of adopting a child, they have to select a child from a photograph. Okay. When the final thing comes that they actually see the child, they say, sorry, we don't want that child. Now, what happens to the people who are thinking of adopting a child in terms of their procedure? They have to reapply, or what do they have to do?
So they have to wait for the next referral.
What is that?
So they will be shown another child.
Okay.
The second referral is there. And then there's a third referral. After the third referral, also they are not taking in, then they have to re-register.
Okay.
So that is how the process. It's not like if you have said no, then you won't be. You're given 3 chances.
So that second chance and the third chance, is it also by a photograph?
All the chances are by photographs only. That's the system that government has put into place.
I find that very, very odd, because if you don't physically see a child, how can you say that I'd like to adopt that child? Because particularly if
so you
it's
see
a
the
girl
child. In fact, what happens is at the time of your reservation you have not seen, but at the time of confirmation you get an opportunity to meet the child. You can say no at that point of time also.
Yeah, but
I know it's not very the best thing that should happen, because in the past what would happen was we used to allow the parents to come over a week, 2 weeks, be there, come, go. A bonding used to take place, and then when it went out from the house, went on in a very stable manner, in a very pleasant way. Now this is, you come, you finish the meeting, and then the next day the child is out and you have to rush with the child. Yeah. But this is how the systems have been put in.
Just again to make it absolute clear, they are given 3 referrals. At the third referral, if they say no, we don't want to do it again. So what is the next step the couple has to take?
To re-register for this.
That means the whole thing goes all over again. That means the counseling, the home visits.
Not counseling, but the home visits will be there. There's something called, see, in this home visit part, if within 3 years they don't get a child, then their home study has to be revalidated. So that process takes place also after 3 years. So before 3 years, if they get a child, then they have on the first basis of the first home study. Otherwise, after 3 years, if they don't get a child, then revalidation of that home study has to be done.
Now, so you mentioned that as far as Karitas goes, generally it takes place pretty rapidly. What would be the average time Karitas would take to get the child to the adopted parents, roughly?
See, what happens is we are not in control of when the child should go to the parents.
Right.
This is controlled by the system that has been put in place, by the Carings portal, which is controlled by the Kara centrally.
Okay.
We come into the picture up to the home study, and we come into the picture after the referral is done. So between the home study and referral, we have no role to play. That depends on the systems that have been put in place. That's how the whole process goes on.
Right. Of course, again, it's very strange, but would you say roughly 6 months?
No, it is more than a year, 2 years sometimes. Referrals take place, yeah.
More than a year, 2 years?
Yeah. That's why I said after 3 years, if it doesn't happen, then you have to revalidate your home study.
Okay, now let's go to the next stage. The next stage is where the child is actually registered as my child. Say I'm the adopted parent. What are the legal implications there, and what are the formalities to be done?
After the child is yours, you don't have any other additional formalities to be done, because for your normal biological child, what are the formalities? That's everything. That's the same as for the for the child with adoption.
Okay.
There's no special thing that you have to do, because the child is yours.
Okay.
Whatever is yours is the child.
So the actual christening can happen anytime thereafter. There is no problem as well.
No,
whether whatever background the child has come from. Okay, I hope that is clear, because you can actually make that child a Christian child, whether the original parents were Muslims or Hindus or Parsis or whatever. That's not a problem.
Many times it happens that we've had couples where the husband was a Muslim, the woman was a Hindu, and the child was born to a Catholic parent. Sometimes the parents, which are the Hindus, got a Catholic child, a Muslim child. These things have happened. So it doesn't really matter. Finally, the child will grow into the faith that the parents are, and the best life that they can give to the child.
So, as far as the Christian parents are concerned, at the time of their christening or baptism, they are then called by the name that is given by the parent, and they have the adopted surname.
Yes.
Right?
So at that time when the adoption process takes place, when the order will be passed by the collector, that's the time to give the name, the new name that they want to give to the child. The name that will be registered also in the birth certificate, the fresh birth certificate, that's the time they can give the new name to the child.
Okay. Now, Father, in a situation where, because they have not seen the child, they have taken the child in good faith, but after, say, maybe 6 months, 1 year, they find the child not quite responding to their love or whatever. Can the child be returned?
Now, when you say return, if the child is unable to think, then you cannot return, because it's all your responsibility.
Yeah.
This happens, return of the child happens on, we call it disruptions. So the disruption can take place only if the child is able to think and is not wanting to bond, bonding, and the parents are feeling unable to handle that. Those are times when the disruptions can be considered. Otherwise, it's not possible.
Okay, can we now take a slightly different route? You mentioned at the beginning that the procedure for a foreigner to adopt a child is slightly different from an Indian situation. Yeah. So can you please elaborate on what is this thing that the foreigner requires And why is it different?
See, the whole process first cannot start in India. It has to start in the country which they are residing. So they have to get in touch with an agency in their own country, which is having affiliation. That agency should have affiliations to Kara.
Right.
If that agency doesn't have affiliation to Kara, they cannot start adoption to take a child from India. So if that agency has got affiliation to with Kara, then they can start the process of it. There are two things that I would like to also make this very clear. See, suppose the father has got a international passport and the mother has got an Indian passport. That becomes an Indian adoption.
Okay.
Provided the mother is residing here. If she is residing abroad and the child will be going abroad, then it becomes a foreign adoption.
Okay.
So if the one of the parent is residing here, then it can happen. Now, if they want, there are things where you also have to take an NOC from the embassy. If one of the parent is here and they want to take the child immediately. So these are other aspects that come into the foreign adoption. But the whole process of adoption starts in their country where they are residing, because that's where the home study will have to be done. The registration addresses will be there. So from here we cannot do a home study over there in that country.
Yeah,
so
right.
that's the reason the whole process starts in the country of where they are staying.
So have you had an experiences of foreigners adopting a child from Goa?
Yeah.
And what has been your experience on that?
We have had a lot of beautiful experiences. There are a lot of foreigners who adopt children from India, from Goa also, and different countries adopt. So the problems have never been of any, we never had any problems of any nature. Incidentally, what I would like to bring to your notice also, there are a lot of people who get adopted internationally. At some point of time, they come in the thought that they have to go in search of their roots. We call it root search. They want to know if their parent, the mother, is doing well or not, and want to support her. Not so much that they want to get in touch with her, but wants to support them. And now that root search, we have supposed to inform them. If the child comes in search of the root, but if the mother at the time of relinquishment has said that I don't want my identity to be revealed any time in the future, then we cannot reveal it. But if the mother has kept it open without saying any clear statement categorically, then we are supposed to inform them. So these are things also are told to the mother when she is relinquishing. If she wants to in the future be known, if the child comes in search, she may say yes, she may say no. She says never, then we have to. So there are internationally people sometimes write to us. I remember there was a professor in one of the university who wrote, international. I won't name the country, but it was an international, and he wanted to know where his mother is. And in the documents when we researched, it was said very clearly that she doesn't want to reveal her identity. So when we write back to them, they feel very disappointed with it. But that is the procedures which are laid down for us over here.
So just to clear the point once again, Father, if the mother says, I would like to be contacted, do you keep a track record of that mother?
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
We have documentation right from the beginning.
No, documentation is okay, but what is the physical?
Okay, good. That's a good point. See, there was a time when the mother had the choice of declaring a fictitious name and a fictitious place, in which case we are not able to contact them. But after this online process has started, they are now supposed to submit their Aadhaar card, which gives them all the documents with us now.
Right.
We cannot they cannot run away. We cannot say we don't have it. So hence, from the time the online registration process is done, the mother has to necessarily give us. So it is traceable.
If the child that has been adopted grows up and then says, I want to trace my mom, the Karitas would definitely, if the mother has said yes, Karitas will give the person information about where the mother is and therefore they can actually meet, or he can financially support her, as the case may be. So that is very clear. Now, as far as coming back to the single person who wants to adopt, and I'm talking about a male person. The male person who is, say, 45 can adopt a child who is between 2 to 5, right? Now, the question, my question is, under what basis can a male ask for adoption when he himself is just single? And how do you know
adoption,
that?
I'll tell you. When we do the home study, we have to ascertain there is a support system available. And there are male who are adopting, who have applied for adoption or adopting, and they say that they give us a situation where they have support from some relatives or some family members or mother or sister-in-law. So that gives you an understanding that there is support in the family to take care of the child. Okay. So that's the reason this home study is required.
I'm sure you have had a very clear understanding of what is required of parents or single or male or female, etc., to adopt. But remember that it's a long process and also an expensive process. Father, I didn't ask you this question, but I'm going to ask you now. How much do you have to pay the government agency to adopt a child?
See, everything that I've spoken so far is everything available in this portal of Carings, and including the question that you have asked. Yeah. So it is 50,000 for the whole process of adoption that takes place. Right. There is everything is enumerated there. 6,000 you have to apart from this 50,000 that goes to the agency for taking care of the child from the time of the birth till the time the child goes out for adoption, in which also is included the fees of the lawyer. Now, from this 2022 onwards, there is no need of a lawyer also in this whole process. Okay. The agency and the DCPO does this work. So that this is the fees. For the home study, you have to pay 6,000 for that. If it goes for revalidation, you have to pay 2,000. So this is all the money that is involved in the adoption process. If it is a foreign adoption, it's a pretty different fees that they have to pay.
So what are that fee?
Depend on which country they are taking it. So it can be different from that.
So let us say it's from England.
It's something 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs something it helps.
And the United States?
It's similar. It's 5 lakhs I think so.
So there you are. So if you are a foreigner and are thinking of adopting a child from India, there is money involved, and it is from an English person or an American person. 3 lakhs may not sound very big, but still it is money as far as India is concerned. But as far as Indian parents are concerned, it is 50,000 rupees, and therefore don't think the process is free. It is you are doing a fantastic job by accepting to adopt a child, but you have to also pay the money. I'm sure that at some point you might have more questions on this subject, but as you know, Father Maverick Fernandes is right here in Panjim. His office is right in the heart of the city, and you can therefore contact him directly to get more information. But once again, don't forget to go to the website, which we are going to show it to you at the end of this program, and the portal where you can register online. Thank you very much, Father, for your valuable information. I'm sure parents who are thinking, or single people who are thinking, or foreigners who are thinking, will go by what you have said and start thinking seriously or adopting a child.
I just want to say this, adopting one child will not change the world, but for that child the world will change.
Oh, wonderful.
And therefore adoption is an option that people should go in for, particularly parents who find it difficult about their biological status of having children. And this is what we keep on advising. After 7-8 years of your marriage, if you're having difficulty, start by going for adoption, because I've had cases where people after adoption also have had their biological children.
That's right, yeah.
So why are you keeping that options closed? Finally, as I said earlier, the gift is from the same giver.
That's right. Absolutely.
And that's from God. Yeah. So whether it's biological or it's by adoption process, the gift comes from God. And that's a gift of God.
So has that been that those who have adopted a child have adopted more than one?
Yes. There are people now who have applied for the second child for adoption. There had been children who have taken an adoption, have had twins after that.
Wow.
3 years back, I had a couple who came in. They had applied for adoption. When their referral came in, they came with 1-year-old baby. So these are things which we find always. And so we say that if there are difficulties, don't wait.
Yeah,
Because then you'll have to take a bigger child.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Father Maverick, and I hope those who are thinking of adopting may do it as quickly as possible so that they have a child to look after right from the younger days till they have nicely grown up in their arms. Thank you very much.